Hey everyone! On today's video, I'm going to be sharing some beautiful Dollar Tree decor DIYs and hacks using wood. You won't believe the incredible things you can create using just a few wooden items from Dollar Tree. So let's get started. For the first DIY, I'm going to be using this blank wood frame plaque from Dollar Tree, 2 tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree as well, and one of these 12-inch wooden dowels. These are 3/8 of an inch in diameter. So first I turn the frame over and I'm going to remove the 2 metal D-ring hangers in the back. I just unscrew those and they come out easily. I'm going to save these because I'll be using them on the next DIY. I add some glue on one end of the tower block and I place that down in the middle of one of the short sides of the frame, and then I glue the second block on the other side. Next, I'm going to paint the wooden frame using this beautiful Hello Hobby chalk paint in the shade Olive Oil. You can certainly paint the frame any color you like, or leave the wood frame as is and just paint the blocks before gluing it down. I do apply some painter's tape so that I don't get any paint on the wood surface. So I apply the paint all over the frame edge, making sure I get the sides as well as the inner edge area and the size of the blocks. I do make sure to leave the top of the block unpainted because I'll be gluing the dowels on top of that. Once I'm done painting, I peel off the painter's tape. I'm going to cut the dowel in half right down the center, and I just use a miter box and saw to do that. I apply some wood glue right on top of a block, and I place a dowel on top of that, making sure it's centered. And I do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to add a little decorative detail on the wood surface, and I'm going to be applying this rub-on transfer from Dollar Tree. I cut out Simply Blessed and the greenery stems. I really love using these Dollar Tree transfers. For the most part, they are very easy to work with, and they transfer beautifully. So I peel out the white backing of the greenery stems, and I place that on the bottom corner, close to the edge, making sure the design side is facing down. I do the same thing with the wording. I peel off the backing paper and I place that right next to the greenery. I use a Dollar Tree scraper to rub that on. You can also use a popsicle stick. Those also work pretty great. I slowly remove the transparent plastic, but if any parts of the design haven't completely transferred, I just lay the sheet back down and I keep rubbing. Now seal it with your sealer of choice and this DIY is done. For the next DIY, I'm going to be using 2 of these 10-inch 1x2 wood slats from Dollar Tree and an extra 4 inches of this 1x2, which is optional. You can also get some 1x2s at your local hardware store, which will actually cost you less per foot. I'll also be using this 24-inch wood plank from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to trim it to the length of the 1x2, which is 10 inches. You want to score it on the front surface and not the back. So I mark the length and then I score it several times until it breaks apart. I'm going to apply some Waverly antique wax on the wood. So I rub that on over with a cloth, but I do make sure to leave one side edge unpainted because I will be applying glue to that area. Dollar Tree also sells these 1x2s in 12 inches as well, but 10 inches was the length that I wanted for this project. So that the plank matches the wood, I lightly apply some of the wax with a damp cloth. I turn the plank over and I apply some glue on the unstained area of the wood, and I place that right on the edge like so. I apply glue on the other wood and I place that on the opposite side. Now you can leave it like this, but I'm going to measure and cut a piece to fit right on one side of the shorter side, and this will make the bottom of the wall planter. So I trim that size out and I apply the antique wax on it, and I glue that down like so. You definitely have enough of the plank and the wood slat left over to make another pair. By the way, if you are going to be trimming these 1x2 slats with a miter box and saw, these will definitely be a lot easier to saw through than the ones at the hardware store, which are more dense. To hang, I'm going to use the metal hangers from the first DIY. I use a ruler to make sure I mark them accurately, and then I screw them on. You can also staple some jute cord on the back as well, and this DIY is done. For the next DIY, I'm going to make a wooden sign, and I'll be using 2 10-inch 1x2 wood slats, and one 12-inch 1x2 from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut the 12-inch in half so that I have two at 6 inches. I'm going to form a rectangle frame, so I apply some wood glue on the ends of the 10-inch wood, and then I adhere the 6-inch cut wood onto the sides like so. For the back of the frame, I'm going to use a couple of these 18-inch wood planks from Dollar Tree, which I already had on hand. You can also use paint stir sticks or even popsicle sticks. I wanted to make sure that the length of the planks fit perfectly inside the frame, so I trimmed them both to match the length of the 10-inch 1x2, which happened to be slightly over 10 inches. To hold the planks in place, I'm going to trim this 1/4-inch square dowel to 2 pieces and glue them on the shorter sides of the frame. You can also use tumbling tower blocks in place of the dowels. I'm going to stain the frame using Verithane's Early American shade. I do make sure to stain the joints that were glued together first, in case some glue had seeped out, otherwise it's not going to absorb the stain. So I apply the stain with a foam brush, and then I immediately wipe out the excess with a clean cloth. For darker color, you can apply several coats or leave it on longer before wiping it out. I love the finish of the stain. It really brings out the beautiful wood grain patterns. Once I'm done staining, I put that aside to dry, and then I paint the wood planks. I paint them white with Waverly chalk paint. Then I apply some glue on the bottom sides, and then I drop them in place. Now, I'm not trying to completely cover the back. There are going to be some gaps, so I just make sure that they're spaced out evenly. Now, once I drop those in, I started having second thoughts about turning it into a frame. Honestly, it's such a gorgeous piece on its own. You can easily use it as a wooden tray or even a planter. It really looks and feels nicely made and solid. So option 1, you can just leave it as is, but I still wanted to complete my original vision and I wanted to see it through. So to make the frame, I'll be using one of these Dollar Tree rectangle planks that come in a pack, and I'm going to paint it in the shade Olive Oil. I'm also going to be using this Dollar Tree stencil and stencil in Have a Nice Day in white. So I use a little foam sponge to apply the paint, and I'm using Waverly chalk paint in white. I make sure to dab out or offload any excess paint before applying it on the stencil, which will help prevent the paint from getting underneath the stencil. Then I remove the stencil. I notice I accidentally got some white paint on the wood, so I just touch that up with the matching paint. In place of permanent glue, I'm going to use glue dots so that I can remove the sign if I decide to use it as a tray instead. And to elevate the sign, I'm going to place a couple tumbling blocks underneath the plank. And this DIY is done, but let me know which option you prefer. For this project, I'm going to be using a 12-inch 1x2 wood slats from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut it into 6 2-inch wide pieces. These wooden slats from Dollar Tree are not very dense, so you can easily cut through them using a miter box and saw. I want to give this a really nice wood stain finish without actually using stain, and I have this big bottle of brown acrylic paint from Dollar Tree that I barely use, and I don't want it to go to waste, so I figured I'd use it for this project. Now this paint mixed with water has a very light orangey tint that I really didn't like, so to neutralize that and give it a deeper brown color, I add some black and gray paint. I add some water to the acrylic paint and mix it up, and now I have this awesome wood stain that's non-toxic, super affordable, and has a really nice beautiful finish. So I brush on the stain on the wood blocks, and then I wipe out the excess with a clean cloth, and I do another coat for a deeper finish. I'm going to string through some jute string, so I drill a hole right through the wood blocks. You just want the hole to be wide enough to fit whatever string or cord you use. I'm going to use my Cricut to cut out the word family, and instead of using a Cricut vinyl, I wanted to try out this white vinyl from Dollar Tree. I've actually never used Dollar Tree vinyl on a Cricut, so I wanted to see if it would cut, and it did. The vinyl is definitely a lot thinner, but it was just fine for this project. So I apply each letter on a block. I'm going to string through some jute string with some wood beads placed in between the blocks. I wrap the ends of the string with some painter's tape just so that it can easily slide through, and then I string it through the beads and blocks. I'm not going to attach a tassel in the end, but you certainly can. I finished the ends with 2 beads, and then I create a loop and tie a couple knots to secure it in place. I cut out the excess string and this DIY is done. I really hope you enjoyed these DIYs. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!